All right, let's talk about the Chargers. Their first draft in the Jim Harbaugh error. Hopefully that's not a Freudian slip. I meant to say era here. I don't think it would be an error to get Jim Harbaugh. Anyway, first, that was an error by me. Let's get into trying to get back on track here. You see the chart next to me. The way this chart works is that the number all the way to the left is when the player was drafted. Next number over is when they were projected to be drafted, and then you have the player name and a position. The Joe Alt pick was one that's going to get talked about. I think, from my understanding, I did a mock draft where I did what I would do if there were no trades, and at number 5, I had the Chargers going with Joe Alt. To me, he is a really good player. Getting a kind of an elite level prospect here is worth it. Now, in fairness, when I did that, Neighbors was off the board in my mock draft because I had the Patriots not going quarterback and I had the Commanders getting Drake May. That's the whole thing. But, in terms of, do I think Joe Alt's worth pick number 5? Absolutely. Am a little surprised there wasn't a trade situation, but I just don't think there was a team willing to trade up to 5 at that point. So, I think that the teams that wanted quarterbacks felt like they could just sit where they were at and get their quarterbacks. And I think that might have gotten screwed up when Atlanta took a quarterback. But still, I think that's what teams thought they could do. And so for the Chargers, they said, let's just get the elite offensive lineman, try to shore that up. Harbaugh really does value that. And I mean, hey, whether you wanted a receiver or not, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater could be one of the best tackle tandems in NFL history. So, really good stuff. I think Joe Alt's awesome. No real notes with that pick for me personally, even though I get why some people weren't as crazy about it. And then Ladd McConkey, the wide receiver who, I like Ladd McConkey. I think he's someone who a lot of people feel like, well, is he an outside guy? I'm not expecting him to be an outside guy. And I think that, quite frankly, this is a system that doesn't really use outside guys the way other systems do. They like to run a lot of play actions and stuff like that, which he could be really good at. So you need receivers to be successful in the NFL. You just do. The receiving core is looking rough right now. Maybe they get more out of Quentin Johnston in his second year. It's possible. But adding McConkey is a real good move. He's, projected to go around here, getting him around here, trading up a little bit to make it work. Yeah, I'm a fan. This is a good move there. Then Junior Colston, the linebacker, who I also really liked. I actually had him as a early second rounder. He was projected as a late second rounder, and he went in the early third round, but I think should be viewed better than just the 69th pick. Someone who, I understand it, right? Because he is someone that when you're drafting, you're almost admitting we're not getting a star player here. We're getting someone who can just come in and be hopefully a solid starter for us. But man, there is a lot of value in just getting someone who can be a solid starter, especially one, let's be honest, looking at the linebacking room for the Chargers, they could use a guy who can come in and be kind of a day one starter. I think Colston will be able to do that. So yeah, so far, so good. These first 3 picks, I'm like, nailed it. I think these will all be starters for them. I think you got to, franchise tackle, a quality, slot receiver, and maybe even a good slot receiver, and a solid starting linebacker. That's really valuable with your first 3 picks. And then you have Justin Ebugany, maybe is how you say his name. Apologies if I did not pronounce it correctly. Listed as an interior defensive lineman. Is someone who is, I think he's a little bit on the smaller side at 290, 6'5", though. So, for an interior defensive lineman, bit skinnier, kind of a weird body type guy, but, has a lot of strength. Did not have a ton of production, but played at Alabama, where it is tougher to get production there. Seems like someone who can be a guy who comes in, plays 400, 500 snaps a year, and is just like a solid guy that you're happy about. No one's going to ever buy his jersey, but is someone who helps you win. That feels like kind of his situation. Next up, we have back-to-back corner picks, and interestingly, if you look at when they were projected to go in the consensus big board, Tarheeb Still was projected to go 272, Cam Hart was projected to go 106, and yet they got Still earlier than they got Hart. Consensus big board is not always 100% accurate, obviously. Who knows if Still would have actually been there even a couple of spots later, but they get both of them, and for Still, it's interesting because they kind of got 2 guys that are in the opposite sides of the coin, where Still is kind of this guy who has pretty good production, although maybe not elite production. Obviously, he was projected to go undrafted, but like, the production's solid and has good instincts, but maybe doesn't have the physical frame to fully make it work. And then a guy like Cam Hart is more of a, that guy, he's 6'3", 200 pounds. He ran a 4.5, but kind of 4.5 on the dots. So, good enough speed there. Just doesn't quite have the instincts that you might be looking for. So either way, they're both depth players that you're hoping you can maybe coach up to be more than just, depth pieces. But for this secondary, which could be an issue, these guys might get playing time. That's just kind of how it works, which is good news for them. Then you have Kamani Vidal, the running back here, who, so his thing is running back out of Troy, did not have the best offensive line to run behind, which is, that is something that you have to kind of deal with, and it's tough because for a running back, you are so dependent on what you have in front of you. Still had some good production though, and has really good athleticism. So I actually think there's a chance this guy ends up being a steal. I get why he fell in the draft the way he did. I totally do. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like there's enough there for me with seeing someone like Vidal that I'm still interested in what he can do. Then you had a couple of receivers. So they do end up drafting 3 total receivers, although you have to wonder if Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson will be actual, guys who are getting reps at the receiver position, barring injuries. Let's talk about Brendan Rice first, who is Jerry Rice's son. Hey, that's pretty good. Like, you'll take that for sure. Is not the incredible athlete, but does have some other kind of intangibles. And let's be honest, just there is a benefit to being, the son of a great football player, in that you kind of know what it takes. The adjustment's going to be easier, and for a late pick who might have to be good right away to make a roster, it might be easier for him than someone else. Also, Cornelius Johnson has pretty good speed and pretty good athleticism. His issue is kind of just doesn't have great footwork, route running, or just doesn't have really a route tree in general. So you do always wonder if guys like that getting picked at 253, are you just a special teams guy? Are you just someone who's going to be a gunner type things? Because a lot of times that's what you do there. Is have you don't need to have the best footwork there. You need someone who can run 40 yards pretty quickly, which he can do. So that might be something that you look at. I was just looking it up. 4.4 40-yard dash. Which, fun fact, the 40-yard dash originally, the reason why it's a 40-yard dash is because that's roughly the length of a punt. It was to see how good of a gunner you could be, and then it's weirdly become a really useful tool for other positions as well. But yeah, come for the draft analysis, stay for the fun facts about the combine. That's what I'm doing here. What do you think of this Chargers draft? I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I don't love every pick, some question marks there, but for the most part, I thought they did a really good job with the first 3, and every other pick, I think there's intrigue there. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.